What's going on, guys? Fishing with Flair here to talk about some spinnerbaits. One of my all-time favorite baits, but especially during the fall, spinnerbait is a crucial bait in my arsenal. So I want to talk about a little bit about how I fish spinnerbaits, where I fish them, the locations, the gear, basically everything you need to know about fall fishing as far as spinnerbaits go. So as far as spinnerbait goes, there's a lot of different options that you can have. This one right here, this is a Strike King burner spinnerbait that I got off Carl's Bait and Tackle. The links will be down below if you want to pick this one up, but there's a whole bunch of other spinnerbaits that you can pick up. And I'll start with the gear. The gear that I use for spinnerbait fishing is about a 7 to a 7.2 as far as length of the rod, a medium heavy with a little bit slower action, not quite a fast action, maybe like a moderate fast. You definitely want a little bit softer tip. That way the fish can have time to inhale the bait, but you also don't want it too slow to where you're missing hooks at. So I go with a medium heavy. This is a 7.2 medium heavy right here. For a reel, I go with a medium speed, like a 6.4 to 6.8 to 1 gear ratio reel, something kind of in the middle, not super fast, not super slow. For the burner spinnerbait, it's all right to go up into that 7, 7.1, 7.3 type range, but in general, I like sticking right in the middle. And for line, I like 15 to 17 pound fluorocarbon. Depends on if I'm fishing brush, open water, some grass. Sometimes if I'm fishing really thick grass or lily pads, I'll even use some braid. But this right here, we got 17 pound fluorocarbon. So right now, that's my setup. And then we've got a pond right back here that we're gonna test this little guy out at. So how I'm working this spinnerbait is, like I was talking about, fishing it over the tops of the vegetation. Now I'm fishing the spinnerbait a lot different than most guys that I've seen fish spinnerbaits. Most guys throw it out there and they kind of chuck and wind. How I use this spinnerbait in particular is I do almost like a jerkbait. You do some cranking, then you just smack it down, crank, smack down, crank, smack down, kind of vary the cadence. The idea is when you pause the reel handle, you pause it, it sinks and it gets down in that vegetation and then you snap it free. That is what is causing your reaction, right? That's what's causing you to get your bites. Is most times when I'm just throwing spinnerbait and I'm just cranking and reeling, you're not getting bites because there's nothing motivating these fish to eat it, out of instinct. But if you're reeling, all of a sudden you randomly snap and it has an erratic flash, gets in the vegetation, gets ripped out, it looks like an injured bait fish. So that's how I like to fish these spinnerbaits, especially this time of year across, vegetation like I am today. Is what I do is I throw it out there, let this thing down for a couple seconds, and just move it in quick and snap it just like this. Give it super erratic action, literally just like a jerk bait. And you guys will be surprised how many reaction tricks you get from these bass that, sometimes in the fall with the cooling temps, sometimes the fish don't want to eat, sometimes they do. And this little guy right here force feeds all the largies. The other thing about spinnerbait fishing, especially in ponds, but even lakes, covering water is super, super important. I'm fishing 2 different ponds right here, and basically making 1 cast, covering water, moving on. And the quicker you cover water, the better. These fish are up, if they're up shallow, they're feeding. So you just gotta find the fish. Some of them haven't quite pushed up yet, being this early in the fall. But what you want is just to cover as much water as you can until you get bit. Once you get bit, then you stay in that location and you throw the spinnerbait. And if you're not getting bit by that, maybe throw a jig, a plastic, a wacky rig, a Senko, something like that. Something a little bit slower. But I use this spinnerbait right here. This is how I find the fish in the fall, covering water. So like I was saying earlier, this guy right here, this is the burner spinnerbait, but I want to talk about some other ones. Now this is not only the spinnerbait that I ever use for going over grass. This one is my favorite, but not all ponds, not all lakes have grass. So this guy right here, this is called a willow leaf spinnerbait. These are actually pretty small blades on here. Again, made for burning, made for speed, made for coming through grass very easily. But they also have bigger willow blades or even Colorado blades, which are a little bit wider, have a harder thumb. So if maybe you're fishing dirtier water, a Colorado blade will be your better bet. But this guy right here, I use the gold and the silver combination. Now some guys prefer gold only, some guys prefer silver only. I have my best luck with both. I feel like the fish get kind of best of both worlds right here. And as far as the colors of the spinnerbaits, I didn't really get into. Shad is always my go-to, but I will sometimes throw like a bluegill or a perch depending on where I'm at. Now, if you guys are fishing a lake, not a pond like I am today, I would say you probably want to go with your shad patterns, because a lot of times, especially in the fall, all the shad kind of migrate in the backs of the creeks, and that's where you want to fish. So on the pond today, fishing over the tops of grass, but if you're on a lake without grass, go in the back of the creeks, in the back of the cuts, and try to find some schooling shad. Just look for shad on your sonar, or if you see any shad skipping around, and then that's when you want to throw this little shad color. But if you're throwing, maybe in a pond like I am today, and you're seeing a lot of bluegill and brim swim around, you might want to go to more of a green pumpkin colored spinnerbait with maybe some more gold blades, stuff like that. But no matter what spinnerbait you guys want, Carl's Bait and Tackle has it. It's where I get all my stuff. And links will be down below for any of the products that you guys see today. And hope you guys enjoyed. You know, if you guys enjoyed the tip video, let us know and comment down below. We want to know, what do you want to see next? What else do you want to learn? And what tips do you guys want for fall fishing and what we have coming up forward? But I guess want to say good luck to you guys out fishing, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.